morning, people. And you fur people. I hope that you guys would do that. That would be cool. Okay. This is Lou. And I haven't been up a whole long time, but I always lay in the bed scrolling until I have to go to the bathroom, which usually I have to go before long. So anyway, just need to get back in the groove of things. See, I can't even talk. Sounded pretty bad right there. All right, so today is November 30th. I haven't looked, but I almost think it probably is the last day of the month. Tripping. Christmas is here. I'm sorry about snorting my nose. I can't seem to get away from it. And I blow the nose. I don't just let it be because I hate that sound. And here I have to make it. Isn't that cool? Okay, so I have been sewing and sewing and sewing, as I've told you guys in the past. Probably in the past 24 hours, who knows. I have to put this aside. I think I need to have a conference with my children. And see, my daughter already knows that I want to make her a quilt. And I already know some of her colors. And she wants to be a surprise, even though she knows. But the other thing is, I'm thinking, it's really important. Because I can sew these squares together. And we did buy material that she likes, but I don't know if I have enough, for one thing. And really, it would be much easier to go ahead and just make a quilt top. And then, it just doesn't work because no one has any time. But it would be cool for you, the person I'm giving the quilt to, for you to be involved. For you to be involved in the colors I choose. I mean, I've already had some comments on the colors, but when you go to look for colors, they're just not always what you're imagining. So it's going to be beautiful no matter what. However, I will say the quilt top is probably the best idea for me because I can do that fast. As long as we get the colors picked out correctly and stuff like that. And I do. I mean, I have some ideas on the colors, but then I went along with what I already had, too. So, like this quilt that I made ended up being humongous, and I was just going to do singles. And what I mean is a personal quilt for laying on the couch. But I kind of got carried away. And so, I'm not positive, but I'm thinking I'm not going to add another row. I'm just going to bind them as they are. And like I told you, one of them is 78 inches long. And they were saying the normal was 80, so that's close enough. But if I add another 6 inches, or if I add, I'm just not real great at this binding thing. Because they're telling you to pick a fabric and make it 2.5 inches wide and, press it and get it ready to go and make sure it's enough to go around the whole quilt. And that might look a hell of a lot better than what I'm going to do. Because just like my, excuse the spot, but just like my mat, this is a coaster. But you could have it black side up or blue, but you could have any color, any design in there that you want. Plain and simple, yes, but not. But anyway, I don't know if you can see the binding. Okay. I followed what this lady did on a tutorial, and it turned out really good. But see, this is all one color, okay? So the quilts I've done are not. So as I turn the material over, it's going to be just like on the back, how the blocks make the color change. So whatever block is on the end of the row, that's the color of the binding for the quilt. I was going to say, even if I go ahead and self-bind it like it's meant to be, if we don't like it, we can still add to it and cover it up. So what I've got to do is clear a spot. Need a spot for all this material. And then I need to bind. I could go ahead and bind those 2 quilts and put them up for sale. Like an auction. I don't know. Give me comments. And I need to make sure that my email address is in the description of this channel. I'm not sure what to call that. I need to go back and redo it. It's just like my papers that I wrote 40 years ago. Whatever came out of my mouth at one time onto the paper, it wasn't just my mouth, it was my brain engaging into my hand, and my hand flying as fast as it could go sometimes. The very first time I tried writing in a journal, I didn't know what was going to happen. My mother had given me one of those large hardback journals. I'm not sure what they cost, but over $20 anyway. But the point is, she wrote in a journal all the time. And I don't know what happened to her journals. They might be interesting. And I'm sure there's a part of her journals that's all about Lou, because I was quite a mess. So I don't know who has Mom's journals, but that wasn't the point. She gave me a journal, and I was living up on the mountain with my daughter, and it was pretty sparse. I didn't have any company. I did not have TV. I did not have a lot of things. So I was up there on 500 acres. And then I had this insatiable urge to learn. I gotta dry the wet. I'm not kidding. I don't know if you guys know what it's like to be compelled to do something. I'm going to turn you away, blow my nose, and it's not going to do any dadgum good. I really hope I don't get sick. My daughter's downstairs pretty sick. Okay, I have tried. If my nose is wet after this, that's just terrible. Okay, so I heated my coffee up. I should have at least a little bit of it, right? Okay. So I'm almost done with my dadgum thread. I don't really know how far it's going to go, and it's black. So that'll be 2 spools of 1,200 yards of thread, excuse me. Spool of thread. I'm so glad those spools work on my machine. I didn't know if they would. I mean, I haven't sewn in a very long time. Except for recently. But I do. I love my coaster. Why should I buy your coaster when I already have coasters? Well, there's a few reasons. Let me see if I can figure them out. Not only would it make me feel good, and you'd be helping my cause, but it does make you feel good when your creations, however so simple, are in someone's house and on display, not just put in a drawer somewhere. or thrown in the trash because they didn't really like what you gave them. That was an exaggeration because I don't know. I just know that so many presents are just not wanted, or you might already have it. Anyway, you got to find a place to store it, and you can't get rid of it because someone gave it to you. But no, I love I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And so here's the deal. It's my favorite color. So just looking at that color makes me happy. So it could be any thing. Now, I showed you guys yesterday the quilt I'm working on now, and it's not a big quilt. It's a lap blanket. And I laid it across me, just sitting at my desk. Laid it across my legs. And when I even only just had 3 rows, which was 1.5 feet, okay? 1.5 feet long, and I had it 30 inches wide. But when I moved that thing off my legs, there was a chill down there. And see, my room, I'm sitting right next to a window, so the window has air coming in. I bought me some clips. I just don't know how to use them very good, and they look big. I need to find a way to take care of this stuff here so I'm not always messing with it. So let's see. I pinned together some of these blocks that I've got to sew, but there's some over there that I've already sewn, and over there. So any of these blocks that I have done, for these quilts. So that could just be a coaster. This beautiful material. And there's blue and brown. I love that. Okay, so I'm just showing you. I pinned them together last night. I've got to sew them. The binding process before I can attach them to each other. And before I can put them in another. This is where I just started doing the 1 block and 1 block. But I'm still on the front doing 1 print and 1 solid. And you can turn these upside down or long ways. I mean, this quilt, you can just keep adding to it. But look at the amount of coasters I could have made. I had seen a tutorial on going, So there's another one, but that's like royal blue. It's the lapis from Walmart. That's the color. And this one is their cranberry. And no, I'm not doing a good job. I'm just trying to give you some type of a visualization, but you have to look at this part. When this is sewn, this is how this will look over here, and it will look over here, and it will look down here, depending on what it's attached to. But yeah, I saw a video that was showing this, and it must have clicked in my brain. I mean, because it was later that I decided to do that. So this color here is cobalt. Okay, I thought cobalt would be a royal blue, but it was not. And this one, Walmart had 2 to 3 years ago. I haven't seen it, but they still might have it. And then this one will be encased in black. And it is cranberry. I was looking for a burgundy for my daughter. That was one of her colors. She spouted off emerald green and burgundy. And I've got to get busy because December starts tomorrow. So here I are with 5 quilts to do, and I just made quilts, but they're not going to be what they want. You know what I mean? But it was a learning process, okay? So I've got all these pinned together. I don't know how many there are, but I need blocks like that, and what they are is 6-inch squares, 6-inch batting, an 8-inch by 8-inch backing. And then that extra inch all the way around is what binds it. And you would think that would make it just easy peasy. And it is not bad sewing on the coasters because they're small. But my quilt is up to, it's 6 feet long. 72 inches is 6 feet, right? I believe it is. And then I added another row. 72 inches, so it's 78 inches. And I had looked up what's the normal size blankets, and the biggest one was 60 inches wide by 80 inches long. So my quandary, and it already just seems so dadgum long already. I think it's long enough. But I did go ahead, the last one I did, the squares, like I just showed you, that quilt that I did go ahead and add a row to the length. So it is 78 inches long. But it just seems so dadgum huge. I'll just go show it to you. It's on my bed, and I think, sometimes when you put things aside, when you're confused and can't figure things out, I don't know if you ever know about that, but just walk away. Put it away and forget about it for a little bit, okay? Because what's going to happen is, unbeknownst to you, it's marinating in your brain. So later, when you come back to that same project, wow, okay, I can do that. I've seen it happen. I know from what I'm talking about. Oh, I get so carried away. So the ones that I haven't actually sewn together, I can take them apart. And I think is part of the same colors that Tyler wants. So I've got to have this stack of colors, and I've got to do an organization thing. And then, meaning putting their colors in their own tote. Making sure I have enough for their quilt. But this quilt that I'm working on now, I'm calling it a quilt, but it's a lap blanket, okay? And I like it. Just remember that anything that we look at, we can choose different colors. That's the deal. And that is the deal. Finding the colors and finding them at a price that's not so horrible. Or if you've got a specialty, like what do they call that? Copyrighted. Like copyrighted stuff, but it's expensive compared to regular cotton. But hey, you could get, even if you got a yard of it, and cut it into the 6-inch strips and 6-inch squares. So you can put one here, there, and yon, just a little bit here and there, a splash of your favorite character or your favorite whatever. Excuse me, I do burp quite a bit. I don't know why. Part of it is I swallow air. That doesn't help. Anyway, I'm going to sew these patches together that I was just showing you. Let's see. I'll show you the stack. Can you see? It's probably hard to tell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's at least 9 of them. And each of my rows on this lap blanket so far is only 5 squares wide, and that is 30 inches. And what am I doing here? Okay, I've sewed it together. I believe I already showed it to you, but I'm going to show you again. So I'm going to have to put you down over here. Just realize it's all experimental. And yeah, if bright colors bother you, you wouldn't like it. But if you like vibrant color, and if you actually like the colors that I have, then you're not going to find this anywhere else. Not this particular one, anyway. So I've been sewing on this. Each square is going to be 6 inches wide. Okay, I don't know if you can see it because it's black on this one, but they each have their own casing on the sides. And I haven't done this part yet. I have to bind that. But that's where I just joined these together. Okay. I love that blue. Okay. So I've got to bind that before I add another. And then I need to stand up. It's just different. And really, I put it on me last night. And it's perfect. I mean, if you have it as a lap blanket and covering your legs down to your feet, okay? Should turn it around. So those blocks that I was just showing you makes up these. And for this amount right here, I've got 2 twofers and 1 single. And I added my kitties because I said, okay, I'm going to just put it there because I love it and I will keep it for myself. Now, just sitting here at my desk, this is perfect, okay? And I don't know that I'm going to make those capes, but it might be a thing to do in the future. I've got to get my quilts done. And I know this is that time of year when if you got great stuff and, you know, timing is everything. So everybody's out buying Christmas presents. And yeah, you want to guarantee that you're going to get it. And that you're going to like it too, I guess. But that's the thing, when you're a small time person and you're just doing, you're not a factory. And you are. It is a handmade item. Even if you're using a sewing machine, there's a lot of work involved. Someone asked how much I was going to charge for these things, and I just don't know. So I'm going to have to do some comparison stuff. I have no clue. And I took this down to Jessie last night. I just wanted to see because I kind of told you guys, I was thinking about the people that are in their recliners. And this works really good. It does cover from side to side. But Jessie thinks I need to have 2 more. So she's saying 7. So what I'm thinking is I'll try 6. 7 might work good too, but it's an odd number. I like even numbers. So anyway, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, I lost track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This right here is 6 6-inch long pieces. The other thing I was thinking about, guys, is cribs. You know, we lay our child in the crib and then I don't know what you guys do these days, but they usually just lay a blanket over them. This would just be perfect. I know, it doesn't look like a child's, but that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. You gotta just pick your own colors. You pick your own colors, and then it's totally different. But I love it. So I got to finish pinning this binding down. And then I guess I'll put some more on it. And still, I'm wondering, I'm going to try to just bind the quilts with what I'm supposed to bind them with, but at least there is an out. If you don't like how it looks, and what I'm talking about is changing colors, changing colors, changing colors, and then also there's ridges because you keep changing. So that's a thought, because I could just trim it flat to the square and then put a binding on it so it would be smooth all the way around. But that's something I've never done either, is making a binding and putting it on. I just love the kitties. They look so soft, and especially this little white one down there. Can you see her? So isn't that cute? So what I got to do, just like I did it with the puppies, I'm going to do it with the kitties. I'm going to go ahead and make a set of coasters. Or I've got more of that same material. I just should start putting one block with kitties. Actually, I just need to buy some more material because butterflies. Butterflies are free. They fly away. I like it. I do. And it's like, oh wow, something small that I can do, I can produce. Just don't know about that. And actually, it does do good, as long as, I just don't know about the edge, how that's going to go. So I'm going to at least make it one more wide. And see, that was what I started to say. Okay, so I've already got my 5 wide done. But see, all the edges of what I've sewn together are still free to be attached to something. And with it being 6 inches by 6 inches, you can turn it around. Sorry about my hair. What I'm trying to say is you can add to it, both lengthwise and the other way. Wide. But I have decided that quilt's plenty big enough. And if there's 2 people in the bed, I mean, what ideally is you have something over you that kind of puts the quilt up there a little bit so it's not getting all caught between you. So even if there's 2 people in the bed, if you're cuddling, it'll be plenty big. And I'm not sure the width. I need to look up the width of these beds, because I should go at least from side to side for the quilts that are going to be for beds. But for the personal on the couch thing, I got to stay in tune here. And I do think that 6 is probably wide enough. And 6 times 6 is 36, which is a yard. You know, so if you think about your numbers, and it does wrap around you pretty good. But Jessie's wanting to be able to, she says, you know, you should have it a little wider so that when you're turning, you don't lose it. She didn't say the lose it part, I did. Okay, so here's the coasters I made the other day, and I know I've already shown you, but maybe you didn't see. So there's some puppy dogs. Can you see them okay? I don't have my glasses on. I can see that they're there. And here's a German Shepherd. And I love the color of this material. It is really a cranberry. It's beautiful. So there's another one. And another one. I love the German Shepherd. Of course I would. Is that a corgi? You're so cute. They're all so cute. Puppies, all puppies are cute. All babies are cute. Let me clarify that. All baby animals are cute. Anyway, so I need to make a bunch of coasters and put them on here for sale too. And I just think they're neat. They're 6 inches. You know, my daughter said they're kind of big, but when I did 5 inches, they were kind of small. So I think this is going to be the deal. And then, I don't know, if you put them in your kitchen in a drawer to keep them clean. You know, you can have these laying out on your table. So when you come out with something to drink, you can go ahead and set it down on it. And like my grandson Tyler, he's got a glass table. So this is definitely going to help with the watermarks. And also putting something down too heavy, too hard on your table could break it. That's adorable. I don't know if you can see it. The puppy kissing the other one. Yeah, I feel like I need to go. I need to have some kind of food. Salt. There's a more. Just so cute. So I think these coasters are a great idea. And the binding worked really well. I followed what one lady did that I saw. And she took, okay, so I've got, the puppy material is 6 inches by 6 inches. The batting was 6 inches by 6 inches. And the back is 8 inches by 8 inches. And so you center the 6 inches inside the 8. And my quilting, I don't know that you can see it, but there are lines. I can't see it. I don't know that you can, there you can see it there. So there's a tic-tac-toe on this one. There's an X on that one. But the point is, between the lines that I've sewn it together, which attaches it, and then you seal it with this binding, you don't need to do any other quilting. It's done. But boy, my wrist was giving me trouble yesterday. So I can tell. I need to move closer. Ah. Ah. I forget what I was saying. I need to do some research, like the width of a crib. The width and the length of a crib. Find out. So I can make a quilt that fits that. And then you don't want it to be up above their head, so it would be from the foot to, over their shoulders. But right now, I'm going to have to hurry up and finish what I'm doing so I can get on with the other stuff. And I've got all this material that I washed, but I haven't cut it up yet. And it's material that I got for other people. So I have to figure out a way to sort it out. And then I think really 6-inch squares is good. But what I'm going to do is like it was when I did my training, when I trained for the sewing factory and we had to make a quilt. We just sewed all the blocks together. I don't even know if we had a border. I don't know. I don't remember that part. But the other part was putting seams together. I think that was part of our training. Making things rest together. Like coming to the 4 corners here. We got black and blue. Is that the same? That's the same blue and then another black. But you can see that each one of them has their own. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. And what I was saying earlier is this is 5 wide. My daughter wants me to go a little bigger. She said maybe 2 more, but that's 7. Which 7 times 6 is 42, and that goes into the width of the yard. Because they're usually 42 to 44 inches. What can I do with this? No, I'm not chopping it off. I could hear you. I could hear you being mean. I have not taken any ivermectin in a while. I think I did an overkill. I could have very well hurt me because I did too much of it. And I am not a doctor, and there is no guarantee of anything. But I will tell you, I think it's made a difference. Because my cancer marker numbers, last I knew, were 162 and 170. And maybe it was longer than a year ago. It could have been 2 years ago that I started treatments. And the treatments were not see, my mind goes blank. Chemo and radiation, which is what they wanted me to do, and I just could not do it. I took all things into consideration, and I just could not do it. And if he'd have given me my hormone blockers, I would not be where I am now, but he wouldn't do it because he was mad at me. I should go smack him around. Really. Because it's my life we're talking about, you know. And it is your right and your decision on how you are treated. And if you seek other help besides that one doctor. I mean, I sought out a naturopath. And not just a naturopath, but one who was a doctor, was a certified oncologist, and a naturopath. Put those together. Plus, she had practiced for years, okay? She did her time and got her certifications. And she was very knowledgeable, and she was very expensive. And no, the insurance didn't cover it. My whole salary for 1 month, because I don't get very much, went for that visit. I think I might have had $100 left, maybe. But the whole point was that's your right to seek second opinions, alternative methods, and there are alternative therapies out there. At a regular hospital, and I don't know about everyone, but the one I went to, and I've heard it said, these doctors are trained. They are trained to what? They are trained to cut the cancer out. They are trained to have you go on chemo and radiation. They are trained to stay within their perimeters. They don't want anybody else in their business, which is my life, my business, okay? And how many of us have cancer out there? Believe me, there's a lot of us of all ages. And cancer usually, or used to be, something that you found in the elderly, you know, because our time clock is set. You know, like that over the hill. There is a time clock set for our destruction because that's the way it is. But anyway, you know, when you get right down to it, a natural path. They use probably herbs and things. Okay, well, guess what? Pharmaceuticals are supposed to be made from herbs. I mean, when you really look at it, so it's like this battle for who's giving you the drug or who's giving you the treatment. So anyway, in the beginning, they wanted me to do chemo and radiation, and I refused. And then a process of things, I moved away, but I did have 2 surgeries before I did. You know, the first one where they actually did a mastectomy. They weren't expecting to do that. And then I went back in 2 months later, I think, and had a couple of lymph nodes taken out. There were a couple still up in here. This is the side where I was destroyed. They didn't need to do what they did. And I was stupid. I went to a general surgeon when I could have went to a specialist. Going to a specialist involved driving 2 hours one way. And people said, you know, a general surgeon for a hospital can do all kinds of things, but he's not a specialist. He did me wrong. He was stupid. I mean, he was smart, but in the caring of this person, he was rather stupid. And he should have insisted that I went to a specialist. His nurse did tell me that I should go to a specialist. I should have listened. I'm going to move some stuff. So I've got a stack of things. Ow. I have to go through that and talk to... Anyway, when I was wanting to talk to Jessica about her quilt, she said, she doesn't want to know. She wants to be surprised. I want to know how I'm supposed to do that. And besides that, it's too much work. It's too much work to not do it right. To not have them in on it. I mean, at first it was going to be a surprise for everybody, but how can I keep that a surprise? And really, I do overthink things, but still. All right, so this is a stack, which is actually 2 blocks, but they're all going to, ouch, they're all going to be sewn. I have pins. So it just stuck me. Anyway, I'll just have to figure it out. And see, right now is the time that I really should be doing all these little things that I want to do. And my daughter needs a beanbag. I need to do that. That's what I need to do. Okay, where do I have those? I have some 5-inch squares. Where are they? See, I've got a box down here that's got my coasters that are already done. Come here, give me that. There's another stack. I do get carried away. Okay, that's not the box I'm looking for, but I wonder, who wrote the book on love? Do 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 da 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 da. I don't know where I put everything, but I've got 5-inch squares somewhere. And I guess I could use these other things. I wonder how wide they are. Let's see. Strip. Not big enough for us. Not big enough to get stuck with it. Tell me, tell me, tell me. Da 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 da. I have to organize myself. I do not know where my stuff is. And really, I do have these 6-inch squares. We can use those. I was thinking I got 5-inch squares. It'd be perfect. A 6 will work. Okay, so I will... What will I do? I don't want to have kitties. You know what she wants it for? She's going to end up wanting more than one. These are my solids. I need to put these with my prints. All right. Oh, and there's 8-inch squares. Okay, what's this? Do 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 do. I guess I could do what can I do? What can I do? It doesn't have to be very big. Our Chasey boy, I know my hair looks funky doodles. Our dog, I just included him, didn't I? I said our. All right, well, I think these are maybe 5-inch squares, but they're my kitties and puppy dogs, so they're special. Anyway, Mr. Chase gets in the damn window, gets on the back of the couch and in the window, and then barks his freaking head off. And see, right outside, You got your front door, and you step out, and you've got maybe, I don't even know if it's 6 feet, but maybe a 6-foot part of the porch. And then there's this about 6-foot lawn. And then there is the sidewalk. And then there's a little teeny bit of grass and a curb. So I mean, I'm describing the front is not very big, okay? And so we have people walking in front of the house all the time. And so he'd be barking at him. But see, it's startling. You're sitting there concentrating on something or watching a show or whatever, and all of a sudden there's this. It's very startling. I don't like it. Okay, let me see what I got going on here. You know, gray might be good for that. Gray has just not been my fancy. And these just seem too big. I need a little thing. So what I'm going to do is make a bean bag. And not just one, I'll make a few. And they will be close at hand where we can grab one and throw it at him. Ain't gonna hurt him that bad. It will wake him up. Say, shut up. You know, us telling him to shut up don't work. My kitties. I need to go to a fabric store. You know, one that has a lot. Well, this is flannel, but you see the dragonflies? Maybe I should turn it around. This is all I have of that material. It's enough that it could go on a scrappy and be beautiful. Yeah, they're calling them scrappy quilts. So these blocks that I've made, they're doing them different, and they're doing just like I did with my mug rug quilt, because they were going to be mug rugs. That was what I cut them to be. And then I had that. I had already cut them to where it had 1 inch all the way around for the binding thing. And then I thought, oh, I can just put that in a quilt. We'll see if it'll work. So it was an experiment. And it did work. But I've got to get it bound. And it's sitting over there. So we'll have to say lose creations, lose, I don't know. I was going to say creations, but no. Lose, well, it is my creations. But probably should put quilt in there somewhere. I just don't know if I want somebody throwing my kitties around. Talking about making them into bean bags. Okay, I need to get some actual food in my body before I get sick. And this is not really actual food, but it's a cracker. I don't know. It'd be nice if I had somebody taking the video, because I would show you, but still I'd be in the way. My thread is going to run out, and that's bad. Because then I have to move over to red thread, because that's what I got. I got a lot of red material. So if I was working with red material, this would be great. Because this is the size of that spool. 1,200 yards. And I'm on the tail end of the second one. And I also have to wind my bobbins. I've got one bobbin in there and one partial, or two partial bobbins really. But I don't know if I have the right ones for this machine. It's working, but I just wonder. This thread could be used as just a thing of black thread. And so could that one, but the problem is I want to fill it up. And also the problem is when I am filling this up, they do not fill up. They stop before they're done. I don't know how the red's going to look on that stuff. Black looks okay. I mean, black goes with everything. But this red, I don't think goes with some things I've got going on. So I need to place that order. I've been working on an order. Things are in my cart, but I just didn't finish. And sometimes you just need to go to the store. But then there's times you go to the store and you can't find what you want. It's almost easier. It is easier to shop online. I was shopping last night in the middle of the night because I couldn't go to sleep. It came on. Have it by 6 a.m. But I didn't order it. But I thought, oh, that's cool. Anyway, that's Walmart for you. So I need to sew those together. I need to... See, they need to be done anyway, no matter what I do. And then I could take this lap blanket. I really need to make it and finish it because I'm going to use it. And then I did see somebody like sitting in their chair and they had a blanket wrapped up across there and then down to the floor. So I don't know what that size is. But I'm going to figure it out. But I do need to figure out my beanbag. So when he will not frickin' shut up, he can have a little pounce of a beanbag startle him. Say, stop it. Anyway, my head hurts, guys. Anyway, what I was trying to say was I can take all these squares, all these blocks, and put them aside. You know, put them all together, right on the box, what they are, and put it in the box. Don't lose the box. Because I've got to get after these other quilts is the deal. I get distracted and away I go. And it's beautiful. And I don't have to make continual lap blankets or whatever. I mean, I can come back to it later and use these blocks for something. And this lap blanket that I've got right here, I don't know. I love looking down and there's those kitties. So that's pretty cool. But right now I've got to think of 5 other people. And this was a learning experience. And also with the way my wrist and stuff felt yesterday, I'm thinking, oh my God, I think I don't want to do this type of quilting anymore. What it is all the binding and stuff. I'm binding the material, pulling it back, folding it over, doing a pin. But I am going to order the needles that are strong, the pins that are strong. I found them. For 10 bucks, you can get 400 of them. So that's in my cart. That way I can get my material and pull it up, and it should not bend. These pins bend. So it becomes a pain in the butt. But the point is, there's all these tendons and things. And it hurt me. It hurt me on that first sewing machine trying to get it unjammed. And then it quit hurting, you know, but then lately with the quilting, I'm doing this a lot with that side arm. You know what I mean? Getting the needle to go just right and releasing the thread and all that. So I think that if I go to the traditional, I'm going to cut the squares, and then we're going to lay them out. I'm going to just lay them out and sew them together. Meaning you do however many rows you want, and you just pick them up and sew them together. And I saw one lady, she had tape, and she had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So she had her rows done, but then she, and each row had its number, and so then she sewed those rows together. Know what I mean? Just like I've been doing with these, adding the squares together and then adding the squares to the next row. I mean, if you go ahead and you make all the rows and you haven't connected them, they're just connected to each other, but they're not connected to the bottom or the top of their stuff. I don't know how to say my words quite right, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I think it'll be easier on my hands, is what I was trying to say. And it'll just be easier, period, because I can just lay out the material and sew it all together, press it, and then we'll just add some backing and batting. So I should just concentrate on the quilt top and quit worrying about trying to get it all done together, because it's hurting my arm. And I don't like pain. And I got to quit stressing too. And I do need to keep looking at tutorials because I keep learning things. Okay, they're a stack. And then, is that a red stack? No, that's red squares. Okay. I don't know what happened to all my squares unless I used them all. And I very well could have. I've got this stack of red, but I had a ton of squares, 8-inch squares, and I don't know what I did with them. And then I made all these other squares, so that could be what I did with them. But it seemed like I had a lot left. But that's red 8x8 squares. Now, one of the things I'm going to get myself, that's what I was looking at last night, was rulers. They've got square, those plastic, acrylic, whatever, some kind of stuff. The rulers where you can use the rotary tool and just slice your material. And then I got to get the right, someone said to get titanium blades. Well, I don't know if you can get those at Walmart. That's for the rotary tool. I have to write these things down because I want a good rotary cutter and blades. And you know, when I bought mine, I was always not spending the most money, and I didn't know what I was doing either. So I probably bought something cheap. However, the one I was looking at, it had all these different models, but they were all the same name, the brand. So the one I've got, I saw the picture of it, and I've got, I should go back and look that up because I don't know the size of my blade. But I looked at it today, and it is the same name. So that one that I saw is, if I can click on it, maybe it'll tell me the size of the blade. Because I definitely need a new blade. And I need a new mat too, because I've got ridges in mine. Okay, well this is heating me up. But see how easy that folds up? It's on my seams right here where I put it together. It's really neat. Neato, neato. So give you a lap blanket. I mean, if you have an elderly in the house especially, you know, and they're sitting on the couch over there, give them a pretty lap blanket. It's beautiful. It is. I love it. And I love the coasters too. So I got a bunch over here waiting for me to make. So what should I do? You know, when I first started, I wanted to make drawstring bags. So I should have a working board up there. I mean, it could be a whiteboard that I write on, but it also could be a bulletin board that I stick things on. Probably better to write. Anyway, all these things that I need to get and ideas that I have, because first I wanted to do drawstring bags, but everybody does that. But I wanted to do the velvet drawstring bags. But see, I forget about it, so that's why you should have it in front of your face. I need to get all the supplies that go with that. I need a roll of drawstring. And then it would be really super easy to make the drawstring bags, my goodness. And they'd have a purpose. And when I was young, my daughter was way young. Anyway, I used to have a bag. I don't know if I put it on my wrist or not, but it was a drawstring bag. You know, put your little items in. And back then it was cigarettes, lighter, whatever it took to get that cigarette lit. And I don't know what else, but back then I did smoke. I smoked for a long time. But it's been 30 years. This year will be 31 years, I believe. It'll either be 30 or 31. I gauge it by my granddaughter's birthday. She was born September 27th. And by that Christmas, I had pneumonia really super bad. I couldn't breathe. I had no air to even take a puff off of a cigarette. It was horrid. It was horrid being sick like that. Not being able to breathe. But I tell you what, I think it was 8 weeks, because I know that I thought about that. They say you can change your habit in 8 weeks. And I couldn't smoke for at least 8 weeks. I had no air. And so after making it that long, I was bound and determined I was not going to have a cigarette. No, it's the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing to quit a habit. Anyway, that's just really cool. This folds up really neat. And then you could turn it different ways and look at different colors. It's cool. And then that way even, that kind of zigzagged and then folded up into a 6-inch thing. Interesting. So I don't know. I don't know about the binding of the edge, but I really need to, because it's part of squaring, it's part of framing each one. So yes, okay, I've decided. See, I couldn't decide before, now I have decided. So I need to just figure out. I need to finish the lap blanket and put it up for sale. And I don't know, I don't have a store anywhere. So all I know to do is I can put it on here in my post, do a video and then put it on my post. And then also, a long time ago, I used to have an eBay store. Way many years ago, when I sold Avon. I had quit selling Avon, but still, I made up all these gift sets and stuff, and I put it on there. So I don't know if I still have a store there, because I got rid of my PayPal because of people trying to draw you in, scammers. So I just shut the sucker down. The PayPal account, I don't have it anymore. I do have Cash App, and I've used it. And you send money, it doesn't cost you anything, and they get it right now. So I don't know. Person would just have to decide if they trust me, I guess, because that is what it takes, is some trust, that you pay me and I send you what you paid for. So it makes it a little complicated. It's probably much better to do local and not have to ship. I just wish I could figure out a way. I mean, I had some ideas the other day. My daughter is involved in these taverns around town. They're not taverns, they're bars. The Cannoneers and Little Vets, that's a not veterinarians, veterans, you know. I'm not sure which one. But nevertheless, we go to Little Vets on Tuesdays, and she plays in a pool league there. But there's a way. I mean, if I had something beautiful and there was a way to display it and then raffle off tickets, and so you have to sell a certain amount, you know, then somebody could win a quilt. It's an idea. I know they do stuff like that all the time. But see, for like, in order, if I could get the bar to do that for me, then they'd have to get something out of it. You know, so we'd have to sell enough that they get money and I get money and someone gets a free quilt or a quilt for a cheap amount. And they do that with their football already. They've got blocks that you can buy, which end up being scores, and then whoever gets the right score wins all the money. And they charge $3 a block. I don't know how many blocks there are, but that's with each football game. And I don't know a lot about the football. All I know is there's got to be a way to have my stuff on display. And then, you know, just because I'm not going to have enough to sell before Christmas, I can still do this. Anyway, it's beautiful, I think. And then what you guys have to think is, oh, I love it, but I wish it was in a different color. I've run across that. Not with the quilts, but with other things. But the point is, I'll just have to make beautiful things, and then in the future, it might be that I could do custom. Custom meaning you help me buy the material. You go buy the material. Or we shop for it together or whatever, but that would be the deal, is someone who wants a quilt, just like I was saying the other day with my macrame, you have to get money up front for the supplies and part of your labor, and then have them pay for the rest when they get it. I love it. And it's not that, I mean, if I went out looking for material, yes, I like this one, and I bought this recently. I don't know that I'd buy this, and I don't know that I would buy this. I found those in Walmart when I was living at Dad's, and they were marked down, and I didn't know the price of material. I think they weren't marked down enough, but they were marked down. And they are different, and they go with this other material that I bought. But really, if I was on the prowl now, which I should be, I would go out and buy. I'll have to show you what I did. No, my clothes don't match. So when you see my leggings, I'm all weirded out. So what am I looking for? Okay, come here, you. Ugh. This is what I got to get into. Okay, this is still more of those squares. They're already put together with the padding, the backing, and the front. I just haven't sewn them so I can take them apart, is my point. I'm going to go and put those over there. Okay, so like this material that I need to get into. You've already seen the gray. It's already been washed. It's ready for me to cut. But I quit cutting because I didn't know what I was going to do. So then I got all these. I don't want to get them all Okay, come here. That way I won't have to pull them out, okay? I don't know if you can see it. So that's like a purple or a dark blue. And then this one, that's neat. So that's got a black background, but it's got polka dots. I think that must be for Jessie. She made a statement, which is cool. You learn these things. Polka dots make her happy. So now I need to find out what color polka dots and get some. Anyway, and there's that. I think Shea Bear chose that. This is the cranberry. And then this is a marbleized type of a teal green. I do like that. And then there's this kind here. I think that's like the cranberry. I mean, it would go really good with the cranberry. And Jessica chose this. And she chose this one. And then I have a feeling this one could be hers. This one could be hers. This is hers. I'm not sure about that one. I think that's Shea Bear's. But it also could be Jessie's. Me and Jess went shopping. And, I mean, this was a while back and got some material. I had her go with me so I could get some help choosing. Okay, so I've got red and blue material over there and more blue material and more red material. Anyway, I'm encasing myself in material. I'm going to have to make room. I'm walking in a little pathway. But I have to make room for the quilts. And really, it was a good idea gone wild, so I don't know. I mean, if I'm able to make even a lap blanket for everybody, I guess I'll be doing good. But I got this material I need to go cut up. That's what I need to do. And so then I need to, before I cut it up, I got to make sure, do I want 6-inch pieces? 6-inch by 6-inch squares. That's going to be beautiful. And I don't know. I just don't know. I should do the quilt tops and quit worrying about all the other stuff. But there just leaves so much to be done. When you're done, you're not done. You know what I mean? Like if I get a quilt top sewn together, I still gotta mess with it. I still gotta attach it to all this stuff, and you gotta have room to do that. And then I'm saying, I told Jessie, I know Madison would like to. However, it takes time. It takes space. But I think it would be a fun project to work together with each of them. But Jessie says, that's not the kind of gift people want. They don't want to participate. They just want the gift. And I understand, because time is short, especially when you work long hours and then you drive a long distance to get to that work, and you do that every day. Oh my. Oh my. One of the things is being close to your work. That way you don't have to go a million miles and sit in traffic and spend all that money on gas and waste your time. So working 5 minutes from home is really killer. Jessica used to drive a lot, and in her job, she was covering a lot of different stores. So she was traveling and traveling and traveling, putting a lot of miles on her car. I think she got, I know she did, she got compensated for the gas, but that does not compensate for the wear and tear on your vehicle. I know. I worked for Pizza Hut for 7 years delivering pizza. I went through a few cars. I went through a few handles. You know, the handle that you open and shut the door with. Anyway, now, if you're going to go deliver for somebody, they need to provide the car, not you. And then you need to get paid better. Anyway, I'll stop that. I think that I've probably talked enough and shown you enough, and I didn't say it, but I believe today is Sunday. And you know what? It's not... I said my prayers last night, and they're simple. But I did ask for help on these quilts. I need inspiration, and I need to get with it. And I've been lost on these other quilts, but it was important. It was a learning experience. But see, these quilt tops, if I just did a quilt top, would be a lot easier. Kind of. If I had a quilting machine, that would be cool, right? Those ones you stick it on there and it does these designs all over the place. Well, I don't have one of those, so we get to have the bare bones version. All right, people. I'm going to let you go. I got to go find something, and I got to figure out what to do with this hair to make it not... It's so thin. I know. Quit complaining, Mary Lou. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Yes, Roy Rogers and Dale Evans had a TV show, and they used to sing that all the time at the very end of their show. Well, this is not a TV show, however. I wish I could find her. I just got a really bad feeling something has happened to her. Linda, are you out there? I just would like to know you're okay. But I got a feeling you're not. Something has happened to you. She watched several members of her family die from cancer. And I don't know what her problems were, if she had any. She had a boyfriend that she was having problems with. She had kicked him out or removed him from the house or something. But anyway, she was having trouble with him. So any number of things could happen. She could have died. She could have been in an accident. She could have